Did you know that actor Sean Bean, who portrayed Boromir in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, got his script at the very last moment, and that's why in this scene he was looking down and covered his face because he was actually trying to read his lines. Welcome back to another video, fellas, and today I'm gonna give you some very cool details about Peter Jackson's trilogy that you may have missed while watching the films. So are you ready? Let's go! Number 1. Boromir had a nice pair of bracers, aka the wrist armors, that he always wore through the film. After Boromir's death at the end of the first film, Aragorn takes and wears Boromir's Bracers, and no character ever mentions it. You can even see Aragorn putting them on in this scene. Not only that, but Aragorn in fact wore Boromir's Bracers until his death. And here is the proof in this scene from the future, where we see Arwen crying for him. This is stated to have been the idea of Viggo Mortensen, the actor who portrayed Aragorn, because he thought his character would have taken Boromir's Bracers to honor him. Number 2. In the scene where Aragorn fights with the Uruk-hai Lurch, the Uruk-hai actor licks the blade that was stabbed on his leg. However, this was not scripted and the actor simply improvised. In the same scene, the Uruk-hai actor was supposed to throw the dagger away from Aragorn so that the VFX team could edit it. However, the Uruk-hai actor had not a clear sight because of his prosthetic makeup, and so he accidentally threw the dagger right onto Viggo Mortensen. And in this scene, the Aragorn actor did in fact react quickly and deflected the knife away, in real time. Bob Anderson, the Olympic fencer, who was the choreographer of the fight scenes in the movie, claimed that Viggo Mortensen is the best swordsman he ever trained. Moving on, in the scene where Aragorn kicks away the Uruk-hai helmets when the trio thinks that Merry and Pippin died, they actually did so many takes on that scene, and in the last take, Viggo broke his toes while kicking the helmets. And that's why he screamed and fell onto his knees.
So he boots this helmet.
However, like any great actor, Viggo stayed in character, and Peter Jackson was really impressed and decided to keep that take in the film.
And of course, you know, it was the best take, so it's actually in the movie. The moment that Viggo breaks his toes is there on screen.
And it was only after they finished filming that Viggo revealed his broken toes. Number 4. Peter Jackson, director of the films, makes a cameo appearance in each one of the films. In The Fellowship of the Ring, he portrays a man eating a carrot when the hobbits arrive at Bree. In The Two Towers, he portrayed a Rohan soldier throwing a spear towards the Uruk-hai who were assaulting the fortress at Helm's Deep. And in The Return of the King, he appears as one of the corsairs of Umbar, briefly seen walking on deck. Now, in the extended edition, this character gets killed accidentally by Legolas as a warning shot in this scene. Up next, the Lord of the Rings trilogy was nominated for 30 Academy Awards and won 17 of them. In fact, the third movie, The Return of the King, made the largest clean sweep in the history of the Oscars, when it won all 11 awards out of the 11 it was nominated for, and also became the first fantasy film in history to win the big award for Best Picture.
And the Oscar goes to
Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings.
for Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
For the Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Howard Shore for Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Richard Taylor and Peter King for The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Michael Hedges and Hammond Peak for The Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
Joe Lettieri, Randall William Cook, and Alex Funky for Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
For The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. For Lord of the Rings, Return of the King.
It's a clean sweep. For Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
This is the 11th Academy Award win tonight for The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King.
Moving on, did you know that in this scene, the man who portrays this particular ranger of Ithilien is in fact the great-grandson of J.R.R. Tolkien himself, and his name is Roy Tolkien. And now here is the most beautiful detail. In The Two Towers, in the scene when we are introduced to the city of Rohan. As the members of the Fellowship arrive, Eowyn steps out of the castle after arguing with Grima Wormtongue. She wistfully looks out to the horizon, and just as she notices Aragorn and his company riding in, the flag of Rohan gets ripped off its pole by a gust of wind. This was beautifully symbolic, and Eowyn's reaction feels especially authentic. Well, that's because it was authentic. Peter Jackson claims that the flag gag wasn't intentional, but rather a well-timed accident that just resulted from the high winds on set. and naturally, such a meaningful coincidence was left in the final cut of the film and remains, to this day, one of the most visually memorable scenes in the Two Towers. Moreover, when Gandalf smacks his head inside the Hobbit house in the Fellowship of the Ring, everyone thought that Ian McKellen did in fact accidentally smack his forehead, because the set was really small. However, the actor himself said that the head banging was his idea, but he was glad that it seemed spontaneous, because that's the aim of all good actors. And last detail, in this scene of the first film, when Merry and Pippin sneak to light up one of Gandalf's fireworks, you can hear a squeal made by Billy Boyd, who portrayed Pippin. This was because, for safety reasons, the firework was simply a prop, not a real explosive. And in Billy Boyd's mind, that implied that the prop wouldn't make any sound. It did, however, make an unexpected pop sound, which Billy Boyd reacted to genuinely. And in fact, his little shriek and jump ended up making it into the final cut of the film. And that's all, fellas, thank you for watching. It is amazing how, after all these years, you can dig up this masterpiece of a trilogy and still find some amazing details. Let us know in the comments, which one surprised you the most. And do not forget to smash like and subscribe. Until the next one, have an amazing time and I'll see you all later.